Hey, yo, what's up? Hey, I'm Tim Black. You're tuned in to Tim's Take Live. You know, there's been a lot of talk about New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, and the NYPD being upset with him and the whole back turning thing. Well, last night on CNN, a contributor by the name of Charles Blow had some words for Don Lemon, and he kind of explained how he feels about the whole back turn thing. So I'm going to run the clip for you, right? But after that clip, I need you to come back because, see, Charles Blow is going to be the nice version, the sanitized version, because he's limited by what he can say on TV. When you come back for Tim Black, me, I'm going to give you the real version, my real version, the type of dialogue and discussion and commentary you ain't going to get on TV or anywhere else. Here's the clip.
Now,
Charles Blow, do you think the mayor should apologize?
I don't know what the apology would be for. I mean, I'm really scratching my head thinking about what the apology would be for. That because he had the temerity to say that he had a conversation with his son who is mixed race and talking to him about how he should interact with the police? Should he apologize for allowing protesters to protest in the city? Maybe you could say that they should not have been able to take over streets, and I think you could make a strong argument about that, but allow there a space for protesters to be. Other than that, what is this? I don't even understand this concept of the saying that the mayor is somehow responsible for these two officers being dead, and that is such an outrageous thing for anyone to have said from the very beginning. And there is an actual person who had blood on his hands. He is the person who pulled the trigger and killed those two officers, and his name never gets mentioned. And people keep saying that somehow that the mayor has done something extraordinary that would cause people to say that he has caused the rift between the police and the executive branch of the city of New York. That is an outrageous, and it is an outrageous statement, and it is not supportable. It is absolutely not supportable. What you have to understand, however, wait a minute, what you have to understand, however, is that this is a political battle. This is not simply a battle, a kind of cultures of police and the culture of the mayor's office. This is a political battle between two political entities. And when you look at it that way, when you look at it and say that the police still do not have a contract, if I understand that correctly, and that they are in contract negotiations, if you look at it and say that this police department was responsible for stop and frisk and liked it, and the mayor basically ran on a platform to get rid of stop and frisk or to stop its abuse.
Is this...
And that is, when you look at it as a political collision of these two forces, then it makes a lot more sense. But this idea that the mayor should come groveling because the police are acting like children is extraordinary.
Before I get started too much, let me give a shout out to the guy who turned me onto this story because I went to his website and I saw that he had posted this. His name is Mr. Militant Negro. Mr. Militant Negro. Find him on Twitter, here, all right? Great guy, speaks honest, keeps it real. Go to his website as well, theobamacrat.com. All right, so if you know by the name of that website, if you're a conservative, you probably don't want to go there, but if you want to pick up some different news, maybe you should. All right, so let's get back to this topic at hand. So you mean to tell me, right, that these police are being used or are using the death of two officers as a wedge issue to get money out of New York? See, right now they're operating without a contract, meaning they're waiting on raises, they're waiting on maybe extended benefits, they're waiting on things of that nature, compensation that they haven't been given, so they may be upset about that. So you mean to tell me that this may have a lot more to do with money than it has to do with the death of two officers? You mean that all this bullshit boils down to you not getting your money on time? Is that what it is? I mean, because Officers know better than anyone else that crime is caused by a number of factors. And they know unless they are mind-controlled, like Charlie Manson, mind-controlled and screwed those girls and made them help him commit murder, right? That people will have their own free will. And then nothing that Bill de Blasio says was said to try to get someone to go commit murder. So they know that. Police officers are well trained enough. At least I would hope they are. I mean, hell, who we fooling? Some aren't, but most are. Some have to be, right? They have to know that someone's words, hell, I find it hard to stomach such bullshit. You should too. Now look, let me say this about de Blasio. I know Bill de Blasio ran on a platform of, I'm going to get rid of stop and frisk. I'm going to make people more happy with police. That was part of his mandate. You got it? So let's not act like he didn't run on that platform. So I got a feeling the police were upset with him a long time ago. This is just an opportune time based on what happened to stick it to him and maybe get what you want out of this guy. And it's funny how Americans always fall for stupid shit like this. Tricks. Banana in the tailpipe, bamboozled, all the time they fall for it. So now you're sitting there thinking that somehow, based on all this damn media coverage that's been suggesting it, that somehow de Blasio saying, you know, he tells his son to be careful around police because we don't want any adverse reactions. We know how they react to us. You are this color. This is America. Deal with it this way. Be prepared, son. I don't want to bury you. You're supposed to bury me. You act like him having that discussion with his son is a bad thing. I've had to have that discussion with my son, and I'm not running for shit, and I'm not advocating him to commit murder. But you're saying that him saying that encourages murder. Look, I don't live in New York City. I like the Yankees. But I don't live in New York City. I also like the Orioles and the Nationals. The Wizards. I don't like the Knicks. But anyway, my point is this. I did not vote for Bill de Blasio, nor do I know much more about his platform other than he's a Democrat and he ran on police and he ran on trying to increase lower taxes and then give employment to New Yorkers. These things, the standard Democratic platform. So I'm not here to carry water for Bill de Blasio because I know how politicians are opportunistic, right? They use whatever they can. But this sounds to me like a bunch of bull. Because it is. What Charles Blow said is accurate. The actions of a deranged man are not the fault of Bill de Blasio, Mayor de Blasio. They are the fault of that deranged man. And if you say that they are the fault of Bill de Blasio, well, then you know what? The school shootings are your fucking fault. Yeah, the little white kids that go into the schools and shoot up the schools and shit. That's your fault then. I mean, let's be fair. You want to own that? Own that. They white, they're teens, they shut up the school. It's your fault then. You don't want to own that. Neither do I want to own some black guy from knocking over a liquor store. But you're doing the same thing with de Blasio. His words had no impact on that man, Brinsley. The guy was unhinged. A deranged fuckhead goes and commits something. Now, look. If you are a man who works hard, or a woman, man or woman, I don't care, whatever your gender is, you work hard for a living, I definitely deserve a raise. You should get your raise. Don't use this issue in order to get it. Too late, already used, already done, been doing it for weeks. What happened to Eric Garner was wrong, in my opinion. Oh, but you haven't seen the evidence. I saw the film. I know what I would have done. Many other people know what they would have done in a similar circumstance with 5 guys and 1 guy with no gun. I know I wouldn't have choked him. He wouldn't have had to beg me to be able to breathe. I would have stopped choking him. He couldn't get away. He too fat to run. I got a taser. I got a gun. He says he can't breathe. Let me just let him go. It was 5 of us. He tried to do something, then we going to fuck him up. But he didn't. So the fact that we have a problem with that does not give you the right to play victim now. Now you're the victim. You're the victim of people not liking you. You're the victim of people talking bad about you. There are officers who feel that Aragana's death was avoidable and should have been avoided. They can't speak up because they'll lose their damn jobs or be ostracized by the blue curtain. These are facts. This is truth. I got no horse in the race over there in New York. All I'm saying is stop blaming the man for some shit you know does not rest with him. Brinsley didn't even live in New York. He lived in Baltimore. For God's sake. Like he gives a hell what Mayor de Blasio is saying. He ain't following the news like me. He don't do a TV program. He don't do a YouTube channel. He don't put out content. He don't have a website, TheBartender.com. MrMilitantNegro.com or TheObamacrat.com. He don't have a website. He's just a nutcase. And I said this in the previous video. If de Blasio was to blame for what Brimsley did to the cops, who's to blame for what Brimsley did to his girlfriend? Because he shot her in the stomach, tried to kill her. I'll wait while you come up with that one. So we could do that all day. This is why people hate politics. They hate it because it's all lies. It's all selfish manipulation of current situations and people's lives in order to achieve some objective that suits your needs or lines your pockets. And people are fed up and tired of it. And also, don't get me wrong, I know Obama uses situations in order to keep black folks in the Democratic Party. These are opportunistic politicians, but that doesn't mean he's not right when he says, hey, well, you know, if you're an African American, I would tell my son not to make sudden movements. This officer. There are certain things that are reality and certain things that are fantasy. But when we speak of racism, when we speak of cops overstepping their bounds, when we speak of police brutality, in totality, this exists for all Americans. And it's not my fault that white Americans and Latino Americans and Native Americans don't speak as loudly as we do when it's our time. Speak up, Latino Americans. Speak up about police brutality. Say it loud and proud. You tired of getting your ass kicked. White folks, you should feel the same way. But since you're part of the power structure, you don't feel the need to speak up as loudly. And that's what Black Lives Matter, the hashtag, is all about. That's what we're saying. We're trying to end white silence. That's why when people come to my channel and they say stupid things such as, why don't you do this when white people get killed? I do. The problem is maybe not you, okay? But a lot of white folks are a part of the system, the machine that killed them. And they don't want to see that go away because they get paid off of it and they live off of it and they eat off of it. So they don't want to call it out. They wrote up their whole lives brainwashed thinking America's the greatest. And all the cops are great, just like on TV. And then they go to wars and they get their legs blown the fuck off for a government that don't give a shit about them. And by the time they realize it, they're 55 years old. They're in the debt up to their ears, and some fucking Wall Street kid in a suit has hijacked their pension. And by that time, they're out of gas. Somebody's got to say it. No one else is saying it. You know what? I'm tired of people acting like they talk truth. You do not talk truth. If you're afraid to speak on issues like this that really matter, they may be unpopular, but it's truth telling time because we're running out of time. There are 2 more officers who were shot in New York City. I think it was the Bronx. 2 more. Now, luckily, these 2 officers were not killed. But crime happens all of the time. So now, anytime a police officer gets shot, people are going to be thinking, oh my God, de Blasio, he caused this. No, these were 2 Latino dudes who had just committed a crime. The police happened to be at the right place or the wrong place at the right time or the wrong time. However you want to look at it. That's the reality of it. They didn't knock over that. Look, yeah, I think they knocked over like a carryout or some shit. They didn't knock over that carryout because de Blasio said something about Eric Garner's death. They knocked over that carryout because they like chicken lo mein and cash. And they shot those officers because they don't like handcuffs and they don't like incarceration. And then they stole a car that proceeded to carjack a vehicle, crash the vehicle, and run away. This has nothing to do with Bill de Blasio. This has to do with them being criminals. We need to come to an understanding that we're going to keep it real regardless to who it affects and who's going to get their feelings hurt. Because you people are part of the problem if you cannot hear the truth. The truth is, de Blasio has nothing to do with the murders of NYPD officers. Who would want that? Only a deranged psycho nutcase bastard. And I don't think de Blasio is that. He ain't nothing but a politician like the rest of them. In there to get elected. Probably started off with good intentions. Ends up being a guy on a bunch of favors. Watch The Wire. Same thing for Obama, same thing for all of them. And I know the militant Negro ain't gonna like that, but that's how I feel about that. But I'm Tim Black. Share this video. And let these people know I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. We're gonna speak the truth, always. Subscribe to this channel. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Subscribe, subscribe. It's truth-telling time. They suspended Stephen A. Smith. Suspended him for a whole week. Why? Because he spoke the truth. See, they don't like the truth being spoken on the airwaves. They want everyone to fall in line, everyone to say the right thing, everyone to adhere to their agenda of what the truth should be.